Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope Podcast. I'm back with another rewind edition of my podcast, and today I will be rewinding Attention Deficit by Wale. Now, this is his solo album, one of the best album I think he had in his Rolodex or in his discography. Um, but he has a lot of great songs and a lot of great projects, whether it be mixtapes, albums, EPs, whatever you want to name it. A lot of great works, a lot of great lyricism, a lot of great music. Um, but this Attention Deficit album is special not because just his debut album and being an underrated project, but just because of the subject matter mostly on the album. The album talked about a lot of different things, but the album I think is mostly geared around mental health, and that the title Attention Deficit it foreshadowed that. So the album cover, of course, which is on the thumbnail of this video, has a kid watching like several screens with nothing on, and he has headphones on that's not connected to anything. So that was very telling as well, just from the album. But back then, of course, this probably was like '06 or something. I was like '08. I wasn't really paying attention to that. But now, going back with my experiences now, I was able to connect that together. It's like, man, that's pretty powerful, especially for a debut album, being a younger artist, to being able to connect those dots and have those images of illusion. So it was very powerful. Now, this album commercially wasn't successful as it should have been. It only sold 28,000 the first week and only 200,000 to date. So I'm not sure if streams is factored into that, but a lot of a lot of records that are slept on, a lot of records that he probably don't perform that he probably should. And I'll get into that. But, sometimes people catch on late, but I think this album is timeless music and very important for hip hop and very important for just the subject matter as well for mental health. Because he's very cognizant of mental health and he talks about it a lot, not just in his music, but in interviews as well and just normal life. And he knows he goes through mental health issues and just trying to fight through those and give other people hope not to give up and to keep striving. And I'll break down these songs and then talk about the reference in them as well. Now, he didn't start off the best with the Triumph song. I didn't like the production on it. I didn't think it fit well with the rapping that he had. But, you know, we try. Sometimes we don't make it across to the audience. Maybe it's something that I'll have to listen to later and then I'll get more. But it was very jazzy, I feel, but it just didn't fit right with the song, the rapping that he had. And some of the production on this album was questionable as well. That's why I think it might have not been received as it should have been, because we know production is very important, especially if you're trying to captivate someone. It's that attention grabber, the music, the beat, it's everything. If it's a bad beat, you have great lyrics, it's all for naught on the lyricism part because nobody's really going to listen to it. And sometimes it can overshadow the rapping part or the singing even, if you're talking about singing. But Pretty Girls, he recovered. He had good production on it, and it was a great song with Gucci Mane. It was a unique pairing for Wale and Gucci Mane, but it worked somehow. It was very very lyrical and it was a club smash, especially back in '08. And then you had World Tour with Jasmine Sullivan. Jasmine Sullivan, exceptional vocalism, just a great performance from her. And also Wale, had that classic Wale flow, laid back, very smooth, smooth delivery, jazz type, blues type performance. You can never go wrong with Wale and definitely Jasmine Sullivan on a song together. Let It Loose, like I said, was one of those songs I could do without, but it had Pharrell and Neptunes on the production. So the beat was pretty catchy. But like I said, I don't think it went well with his rapping. That was more of a song for, one of those artists that are made for, like that upbeat club type style. He's more smooth and mellowed out, Wale is, but, you can't really complain about a Pharrell and Neptune's production. That's some of the best production. They've done some of the best production in hip hop history. So, but I just didn't like the combination of Pharrell and Wale together. But who would turn down a Pharrell or a Neptune's beat? Shades with Chrisette Michele. Like I said, she has one of those angelic voices. She fit the song well with Wale. She addressed it. Well, they addressed the colorism issue in America or in the black community, just favoring the lighter skinned over the darker skinned, and how Wale used to treat different shades, and just uplifting the black community about, just because of your shade, that doesn't devalue you. You have value in your own right, and it's not attached to a skin color. So very good song I liked. And then, of course, like I said, Chillin' and TV and the Radio were made for pop and radio singles. It was something that I felt he made just for the radio and for pop and just to get the album going, but I didn't like either one of those. That was, like I said, it was very poppy. But Contemplate, now that's the song. That's one of his most underrated songs, but I think it's one of my favorite. So it has Rihanna unaccredited in the song. She's singing in the chorus. And this song was about mental health and the different parts of mental health that people go through, whether it be anxiety in the limelight and things like that. And I'll go through a couple of these lyrics. So he highlighted anxiety. So he said in the lyric, one day everybody's applauding, the next day you is everybody's target. Now Drake knows about this now. He was high up on the chain and, went through that rap beef, and now, he's become a target of everybody and target of every conversation. And it shows you the anxiety that you can get in this industry. One day you could be up, one day you could be down, just like any other industry. But, it's very difficult in entertainment industry because everybody's blogging and writing about it. The ebbs and flows. He also confronted the mental health of other famous entertainers in this song. In the line, he says, "This ain't hard. Chris Benoit, Heath Ledger said the night's gonna be dark. Feel the size of a Phyllis Hyman note. Apollo Theater, I might not go. Frankie Lyman in the limelight gets old." So with the exception of Frankie Lyman, which I couldn't find information on his mental health, these all entertainers dealt with mental health issues. And it's very part of hip hop just being able to address these issues, because there's a stigma in the black community that if you get mental health help, that you're crazy or something's wrong with you. But we all go through mental health issues, and we all at some time, have something we're going through. So it's not something that you should be ashamed of or something you should be veer away from. It's something that you should tack head on and figure out and go get help for. And Wale delivers such a beautiful message. Now, that song is one of the greatest hip hop songs dealing with mental health in history. Now, when you think about the mental health songs, you think about Playing Tricks on Me by Ghetto Boys, which is talking about anxiety. Tupac, So Many Tears, just addressing the issues he had from growing up and the pain that he had. DMX Slippin', which is the issues he had as well. Very good autobiography if you have time to read that. But he kind of gives you some of those autobiographical moments in that as well. Or Vic Mensa, Wings, which doesn't get a lot of love. It's a Pharrell produced track, and he talks about how he dealt with substance usage and mental health and just self-doubt and self-worth. So these elements are very important in hip hop because, like I said, in the urban community, especially black community, there's not a lot of support around mental health. It's getting better, but we're still not where we need to be yet. If you have mental health issues, go out there and get help. There's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with you. It's a normal part of life. But he was brave to address these societal issues, especially on his debut album. That's probably why I didn't do as well as he was supposed to do, because he attacked issues that wasn't too, common to talk about in the urban community and for his fan base. But just topping off the album, Diary, Beautiful Bliss, with J. Cole and Prescription, another good song that was full of messaging, that was full of questioning of self-doubt or self-worth, and just trying to uplift people to make decisions to benefit them and to get the help and do the work on themselves so they can be better people and be where they need to be from a social norm standpoint. So I love this album just because of the messaging and the way Wale was brave enough to talk about these things and display these things, especially in hip hop, and to an audience that may not necessarily agree or necessarily want to get help for things that they think that they don't have. Because if you don't think you have an issue, you're not going to want to address it. So the first part, of course, is always admitting that you have something, an issue going and that you need to fix it. But Wale chef's kiss on the mental health, on being able to talk about in a musical setting, especially hip hop. And I think it did wonders. And this is one of those albums that'll live on because of the subject matter and the bravery and the open and transparency that he had on this album. So if you haven't listened to Wale's album, Attention Deficit, go check it out. And until next time, see you next time.